Hey everybody, this is Michael from Champion Puppy Training System. I wanted you to act now and sign up for June's new owner puppy boot camp. May filled up quickly and we're now taking reservations for June. So act quick before it fills up. We'll show you your puppy is a champion. Now enjoy the podcast.
What is up, champion puppy owners? Do you want a streamlined ownership experience? Do you want a socialized dog with manners, responsiveness, and general life skills? Great, you're in the right place. This podcast is for the accountable puppy owner who wants to better know and grow their dog. Welcome back. So what we're talking about this week are just some other training tools above and beyond the bones that we talked about the first week, above and beyond the confinement tools that we talked about the second week, above and beyond the food puzzles and talk toys that we talked about last week. And so what I want to talk to you about today is a collar. All right. As I mentioned in prior podcasts, I typically don't like to utilize a collar directly on a leash until about 2 months into a puppy's development. I want to really charge the use of verbal leash and body language and a leash attached to a harness and really get the most out of our communication with our puppy, taking the harness and leash as far as possible. And then from there, we would go and do the exact same thing, kind of re-roll it out, maybe with some food and just doing some basic drills with the leash attached to the collar. All right. So when you do purchase a collar, I want you to get one that is a lot like a traditional belt buckle, not one that snaps into itself, but actually one that there's a little like metal piece that fits into a hole. Okay. And the reason why I want that is not so much because of the buckle, but because of the adjustment point. So with the ones that snap into themselves, it has a little spot for you to adjust the collar. And the problem with that is it adjusts itself. So you go to set the collar up correctly, as I'm about to explain here in a second, and then from there, it gets looser and looser and looser. A lot of times these are plastic because they're a little bit cheaper, but even the metal ones this happens with. Just by design, it can be a quality collar, but just by design, it's not quality. And so by having one where you actually put the little metal piece into the hole, you set it and it stays that way. And that's important. Imagine if you had a belt that loosened up all day long. So in the beginning of the day, your pants are by your hips, midday they're by your knees, and by the end of the day, they're by your ankles, right? You'd stop wearing that belt, right? That wouldn't make you look too good in the workplace. And so with that in mind, I want you to throw away that current collar that you have and replace it with one that when you set it, it stays the appropriate tightness based upon how you initially set it. And I want that to be up nice and tight behind your dog's ears. So think about in like the dog shows that you've seen, like the Westminster Dog Show. A lot of times the handlers will have the leash jacked up real high behind the back of a dog's ears so the dog looks really prominent. They have a really good level of control so they can get a nice gait out of their dog. And the same is true with us. We want that nice, tight, high level control. And if that collar is sagging by their lower neck close to their chest, well, then we're not getting a good control. Okay. And remember, this is only after we've done training with the leash attached to the harness for a couple of months. And if you have a toy breed dog, an otherwise pretty dainty breed dog, they might be prone to a collapsed trachea, and you might never graduate to using a collar with your puppy, okay? So when in doubt, if this sounds like it might be your dog, just ask your vet, go to Google, ask me during one of our scheduled class times where you can ask me your questions and I'll be happy to answer them, okay? Hopefully you feel like you know the appropriate leash to purchase, and then we're gonna go over in future podcasts how to charge the leash communication, and eventually you'll use it leash attached to collar. So if you still need to purchase a correctly fitting collar for your dog, check out championdogproducts.com. The link's in the show notes. But very important, make sure you measure your dog's neck before you purchase it. Because we want to make sure that you're purchasing the correct size. So a good way to do that is to either use your dog's already existing collar, use some seamstress tape, or even like a piece of rope or a shoelace, something that you can just put around your dog's neck for a second, pinch your fingers down, and then take it off and use a measuring stick or a tape measure. So with that said, the correctly fitting collar is very, very important. One last extremely important point is you do not want for your dog to get in the habit of backing out of its collar. That's a dangerous life skill to learn, because if your dog learns to like back its head out of its collar and you go to, let's say, bring your dog into the vet or the groomer or somewhere where it doesn't want to be, your dog might go into a fear state and take off on you. So with that in mind, make sure you guys have your dog microchipped. Make sure that you guys have the proper tags on your dog that has your contact information as well. All right, guys, I'm going to be anxiously waiting for you inside tomorrow's podcast, where I'm going to explain to you how raised dog beds can make your training so much easier, making your dog stays that much better and more natural. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, champion puppy owner, action over anxiety, discipline equals freedom. Take the next step, do what you know how to do. Drive the puppy training process. Truly commit yourself to this and hit it hard for a short period of time so you can stop working on your dog and simply enjoy them. I'll see you next time.